Hey, Grok, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
So, give me the top stories for veterans in the U.S.
Top stories for U.S. veterans right now. VA's extending presumptive periods for Gulf War illnesses in Agent Orange, plus a big push to house over 51,000 homeless vets this year, the most in 7 years. Also, controversy over VA abortion policy changes under Trump and rising colon cancer rates in younger vets with new screening pushes.
Hey, please expand on the 51,000 homeless vets, please.
The VA permanently housed 51,936 homeless veterans nationwide in fiscal year 2025, the highest in 7 years, up 4,000 from last year. Key efforts included the May launch of Getting Veterans Off the Street outreach surges at every VA site, moving over 25,000 unsheltered vets into housing or interim care. Plus, Trump's executive order for a National Center for Warrior Independence at West Los Angeles VA to house up to 6,000 by 2028.
So, what is attributed to the homelessness population within veterans?
Main causes of veteran homelessness include mental health issues like PTSD and serious mental illness, substance use disorders, low income or unemployment, lack of family support or weak social networks, and prior incarceration. Other factors are military sexual trauma, less than honorable discharges, childhood trauma, and rising housing costs nationwide.
So, I see some of those factors are attributed to directly linked to their military service. Is that correct?
Yes, several are directly linked to military service, like PTSD and other mental health issues from combat exposure, military sexual trauma, and substance use often tied to coping with service related trauma. Less than honorable discharges can also stem from service stresses, cutting off VA benefits and worsening risks.
So, is PTSD the leading cause for vet homelessness?
No, VA studies show substance abuse is the strongest and most consistent risk factor for veteran homelessness, ahead of severe mental illness or low income. PTSD is a risk factor, but not distinctively stronger than other mental health disorders like depression or psychosis, and combat exposure doesn't play a uniquely big role due to VA support access.
So, what type of substance abuse are we talking about?
Primarily alcohol abuse, especially binge drinking, which is the most common substance use disorder among veterans and homeless vets. Up to 70% of homeless veterans have a substance abuse, often alcohol related. Other frequent ones include opioids, prescription or illicit like heroin, marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, and nicotine, often used to cope with pain, PTSD, or stress.
I got it, Grok. Thank you.
You're welcome, anytime.
So, that those are the reasons for veteran homelessness. I was curious as to what the government would wants to do to alleviate that homelessness within the veteran population. And I'm glad that they are doing something, an initiative to get those veterans off the streets and get them the help they need. But I mean, I personally did struggle with binge drinking, and probably the last few years I altogether completely almost stopped drinking. So it happens to the best of us as we try to band-aid our way through life. Whatever numbing agent you use, whether it's drugs or alcohol or toxic relationships, anything like that, that just medicates, the your whatever you're dealing with, rather than really gets to the root cause of why someone is drinking in excess. It's definitely a journey that you probably shouldn't walk alone, and you're not alone in that. A lot of veterans do struggle with that. A lot of my battle buddies have shared with me, whether it's you know PTSD related or not, some type of trauma during their career, that once they get out, they finally have the, I guess, the time to process your body and your mind, and everything begins to process whatever that trauma is, and usually in unhealthy ways. It seems like while you're in, you're just grinding every day. You're bringing your A game to work every day. You're deploying your training. You're consolidating you're doing this and that. um, a lot of verbs, throwing out a lot of verbs while you are active duty. And you stay so busy that you really uh, don't have the time to really assess what's happened in your career that's causing you to do these things. And you just kind of suppress it. At least for me, I suppressed um, that, whatever I was dealing with. And it wasn't until after I got out that I had the opportunity to deal with it, and I was dealing with it in a very unhealthy way. So I encourage you, implore you to really seek the help that you need and to be the best versions of ourselves. I believe we owe it to the people that love us, that stood with us, and that they're in some way going through it as well. Our kids or spouses or siblings or parents, whoever those might be, those people might be, our friends, and really just having that honesty with ourselves, like, hey, something's not right, and then try to get that help. And sometimes we get discouraged if that help, doesn't come in the time that we feel that it should, whether it's the VA or some other um, type of help, counseling, or you using your current employer's insurance or whatever. But I will encourage you to stay with any type of get well plan that you have or are seeking to get. And that's all I got.